morning, my name's Kia Taylor and I'm doing my video on interprofessional communication, and I'm going to use the Gibbs model of reflection to discuss 3 different forms of handover that I've experienced on my on-road prac thus far. Yeah, g'day. We've got old love over there trying to stay in her wheelchair. Knee pain. I think you'll know her. What's her name? Love, sorry, what's your name? Oh, it's Kathy. Kathy. Date of birth? Oh. Karina, what did you say your date of birth was? 25th of August, 1976. Oh, does she have any allergies? I don't know. Darling, do you have any allergies? Nah, nothing. I don't doubt if she knows she even had them anyway. So she actually does have legitimate ligament damage, but I forgot the films I left in there. But you know her, you know me, and yeah, she's had a methoxy, so she'll be sweet until you guys are ready to deal with her. All right? F number? No. Case number? Oh, mate, I didn't even open the case. My iPad's in the car. Are we good to go? Morning. Oh my God, I feel like I've been kicked in the face. Freaking nursing homes. This is Barry. So Barry had his IDC taken out yesterday. He's, you know, in a lot of pain. He's got obvious bladder distension. Won't let me touch it. He's had a stroke, so, you know, he's got his right side affected. But yeah, we've walked in there, didn't get much of a handover from the RN, you know, it's the usual, you know, this isn't my ward, I just got back from holidays, you take him now? So, you know, he's been all right with us, all of his numbers are good, he's afebrile, but yeah, he is clearly in pain and clearly uncomfortable. Are we good? I just want to go home, I'm so tired. So here we have Maria. Maria's 86 and she's complaining of dizziness. As you can see, she's got the orbital bruising all around her eyes. She was actually at Gold Coast Uni on Monday. It's now Wednesday morning. And they released her yesterday. So she was there for exactly the same, dizziness, falling. She had a fall in the hospital, and now she's called us early this morning because she's woken up, want to go to the toilet, and experiencing that dizziness again. When we did a set of obs on her, she's extremely hypertensive. She's been consistently systolic 220 and above. I took a palp 215. She's tachycardic. Her respiration rate is unremarkable, and she's sitting really well at 97%. 12 lead showed that she has also got AFib. There is nothing in her medications to suggest that she is being treated for any of these things. She said she came home from hospital with antibiotics for which she doesn't know what she's even taking them for, and she hasn't even started the course yet, and all the other medication I could find was actually furosemide. So, you know, poor lady, she lives alone. When she came down the stairs, the stairwell was like this, so she's frightened of being at home. So there's, I think, you know, she needs a medical review, and she also needs including her medications, but also, you know, a social and at-home review, because I don't think she's really coping at home on her own. So those 3 handovers were really, really different. I did see exactly those things. In the first one, I was just mortified. You know, this lady, she was totally known to the QAS as being a drug seeker. And I just felt still, though, that my mentor went out of his way to disrespect her and make her feel like she wasn't worth his effort. But not only that, you know, he was really like thwarting her passage through the system. If he, you know, had to take in a different route and introduced her as mental health or something, the other, you know, then her or someone previously had done that, then her journey through the healthcare system might be potentially quite different to what she's getting now. In the second one, my mentor, her attitude was just so bad, and the way that she presented herself was really unprofessional, and she made it very clear that she thought that our patient was a complete inconvenience, that she had to transport this guy at the right at the end of shift. She totally trashed the RN that did the handover at the health, residential facility, and yeah, so I was quite embarrassed to be standing next to her during that. In the final scenario, my mentor actually stepped in and saved me from a horrible situation. I hadn't prepared my dialogue, and she was clinical, factual, succinct, and she ensured that our patient got the continuum of care and the bed that she really needed. Both of the first two handovers I felt quite uncomfortable to be attached to. I don't think there's any reason for allowing the patient to feel your discontent. As a carry on to that, you know, in a professional setting, we have certain obligations, and you know, our first patient was a known drug seeker, but my mentor still made the decision to give her methoxyflurane and to transport her to hospital. So she had exactly the same rights of care as any other patient. Our second patient, I felt extremely sorry for. He had had a stroke, but he was completely orientated. He could hear everything that was said during his handover. So I was really, really mortified, you know, and she was like, the room stank of UTI, and it was just really unbecoming. And, you know, and she looked like she'd been dragged through a hedge backwards, and I don't think that that's appropriate either. In the last scenario, I pretty much felt like I'd fluffed it. It was at the end of shift. It was 6:30 a.m. But, you know, here I am saying these other people need to lift their game. So do I. We have the Amy Stambo mnemonic that's available to us. It's, you know, it's there sort of right from first year for us to get to know. And I basically just unloaded this Tourette's version of information on this poor triage nurse, and then my mentor stepped in and laid it all out in a form that she could understand. So as an evaluation, these handovers really help solidify how I would like to conduct myself when I'm on road. I think if there comes a day where I don't value my patient's input or even their presence, then I should probably look for a different career path. But also with that, I think I've always thought that communication, it's not what you say, but it's also how you say it. And in a professional setting, you're really trying to foster, especially like for paramedics, we're such a new profession, this real like environment of mutual respect. We're trying to information share. We're supposed to be all patient-centered, and our values are surrounding around, you know, across the board for us, for doctors, for nurses, for any sort of rehab that they get, you know, they're our main focus, and them having the best possible outcome should be paramount and at the forefront of our information sharing process. So as a form of analysis, I did quite a bit of reading. There's actually no definitive explanation for interprofessional communication, but the popular understanding is that it's when professionals and the community communicate together in an open and collaborative and responsive manner. So effective interprofessional communication in healthcare then begets successful interprofessional collaboration, and that is created on the basis of mutual respect and shared positive outcome goals for the patient. And then from that, our patients are a lot more likely to trust in their healthcare providers to have their best interests at heart. A study by O'Daniel and Rosenstein showed that only 7% of communication is based on the actual words that we say. So a huge proportion, 93%, is derived from our tone, our attitude, our body language. So if you apply that to the last three scenarios that I just gave you, then, that's pretty enormous. People know when you're disinterested and you don't care, but people also know when you have a vested interest in their best outcome. In 2014, an Australian survey was done on the public opinion of professional status of the paramedic discipline. So this was done in Victoria. And while the overwhelming consensus was that, they love us, the support for paramedicine is high, they don't also really have a huge understanding of our scope of practice, but they do have very high expectations of us portraying professional and ethical standards at a high level. This study also went to go on and identify that the most valued quality of paramedics is, above all, that they are caring and reassuring. As a mirror to the public view, we are now open for registration. We are a regulated healthcare profession, and the newly introduced APRA guidelines list professional and ethical conduct and professional communication and collaboration as the forerunners of paramedic capabilities. As a profession, our code of conduct is shaped by the Code of Conduct for the Queensland Public Service. And then as a byline, our ethical principles are shaped by the Public Sector of Ethics Act in 1994. So within the ethical principle of integrity and impartiality, it very clearly states that government healthcare employees are, 1C, to show respect to all persons, including employees, clients, and the general public. And 2, they're committed to honest, fair, and respectful engagement with the community. So as a student, the opportunity to practice our handovers has only really been possible during our on-road placements. It can be pretty confronting when you're standing there at the triage desk and you've got like an entire audience. You've got all the nurses that side, all your peers that side. And, I, for one, I definitely get dry mouth even now, still going up there and trying to give them my spiel. Current literature supports the notion that students should begin their interprofessional communication education as part of a simulated program during their tertiary study. So there's a couple of studies that support this, and they definitely say that interdisciplinary communication and teamwork is perfected during a simulated environment, and the earlier that we can begin that is a much better and more effective way of ensuring future patient safety and positive outcomes. So in conclusion, I've been watching and learning how to effectively communicate with every other profession that I come into contact with in a single work day on road. So I can take my handovers from medical centre doctors or nurses, residential care staff, hyper emotional family members and friends, and from the patients themselves, who are often really quite vulnerable. And then in turn, I've given my handovers to triage nurses who are just, they've got voices coming at them from everywhere, and they still manage to get their job done and be, really thorough and effective. So I think my biggest lesson has been prepare your dialogue, be succinct, understand clearly, like your patient needs, what do they need from their trip to hospital, and use my handover to ensure that they get the best outcome possible. And my personal action plan is to put all those things into action to ensure that, I continue to put my best foot forward professionally, but also to take pride in my own professionalism. Thank you. Thank you.